sorry. We're going to take a gamma exposure based trade on the SPX butterfly, and I know a lot of you probably took the 6800 butterfly earlier today when we were way down here, which I think is a great trade. I also took that trade. I think the risk to reward was I risked damn near just $100 to make 900, and that was a worthwhile, just absolute straight lotto style trade, right? And as the day has progressed, I mean that was the largest gamma exposure level, absolute gamma at the time, and we were so far away from it that it was a great little risk reward. But what has happened, what has happened here is the gamma exposure absolute gamma level has shifted, and we are now looking at 6750. Now this is the 6800 up here. We still have quite a bit of volume in there. That's still a decently sized level, and if we do get a bounce, it's definitely the highest amount of open interest and highest amount of volume on the day. So that one from earlier is certainly worth keeping, because we're getting ourselves a little bit of a bounce right now off of these lower levels. I wish I would have grabbed a sniper on that one. But what I also did a minute ago was put on the 6750 butterfly, also 20 wide, 10 on each side, because that absolute gamma level has become the largest as we get into this last hour worth of trading. So the worst place that this thing could finish for me would be let's see, if I was doing 75, yeah, it would be about right here. If we pinned right at 6780, I wouldn't make anything from this, and I wouldn't make anything from this, right? But those two areas are going to act as magnets, and if I'm only risking $200 and I have two of them on, then I'm happy with that from a lotto perspective. Yeah, J-Nibs, the gamma exposure is, and a standard gamma exposure chart kind of looks like this. And you have large put strikes, right, that have the largest amount of activity, and the largest amount of call strikes that have activity. And the way that market makers work, this is kind of like volume profile for the options market, right? Volume profile tracks your price at certain levels, volume at price for certain levels. Well, this is helping to track where the most amount of calls and puts are at certain levels. And they can act as, during trading, large levels will act as support and resistance, right? This is obviously, turned sideways, but these are the upper levels, these are the lower levels. And then these are levels that market makers use gamma. If you know the Greeks, right? Market makers have to hedge their positions. They are the buyers. Like if you're selling if you're buying a call or buying a put, they are the seller of those calls and puts, generally on the opposite side of the market, and they constantly have to be hedging those positions as they provide that liquidity to all the traders out there, right? And so when they take the opposite side, they use the delta of the option. It's called delta hedging, to hedge their positions. And to be even more specific, they use the gamma in the option to hedge. So if we talked about yesterday, the delta This is kind of, we're getting into the weeds here a little bit. Delta is the rate at which an option will move in relation to, you know, a $1 move in the underlying price. So if you have a delta 50, right, then the option will move 50 cents for every $1 move in the underlying, right? Or if you have a delta 30, right? But then you have gamma, which is basically the acceleration of delta. And so it's measuring and affecting how quickly delta is changing. And so market makers use that gamma to hedge their positions. So not only are these going to act as support and resistance levels on the chart, they are also going to act as magnets. Okay, so large gamma exposure levels are going to act as a magnet as market makers need to hedge positions to stay delta neutral, and it bring price back to those large gamma levels. So what happens is, like, these gamma levels are kind of established at the beginning of the day for the 0 DTE. And then I will come in and I will update this chart, which I share with everybody every morning, with the levels for the day. And then about midday, I'll adjust those because they shift, because there's obviously buying and selling in the market, and they shift. So I will update those about one more time during the day. So if you have access to this chart, which there is a Nate bot that will give you that chart. I don't do anything else with this chart, so that link will always be the next day's gamma exposure levels, right? And so we do a trade now towards the end of the day, and as you can see, this came down here and it respected the 0 gamma level, bounced right off it twice. We didn't get down into the put support level, but that is the 67.50 that I took a butterfly on a few minutes ago. And the other one is the call resistance and what used to be the absolute gamma level at 6,800. Okay, so I do when it's on YouTube. So we can use these as support and resistance levels throughout the day. It also helps us gauge market direction. If we are in a positive gamma environment, right, which means dealers are net positive gamma, right? That means that when the market, when price is moving up, dealers will sell to hedge, right? So you'll get movements that are smoother and normal. Same thing on the way down. When price moves down, they will buy to hedge, right? So it's normal, consistent market movement. But when we're in a negative gamma environment, right, the hedging from market makers accelerates movements, right? So in a negative gamma environment, if price is moving down or the underlying is moving down, they actually have to sell positions, right, to hedge, which creates further selling. And in reverse, when we get a bounce, the bounce is more sustained, because in a negative gamma environment, when price is moving up, market makers have to hedge by buying, right? And that just creates more buying. It's like a short squeeze, essentially, in either direction. Now we could go real deep into the weeds and talk about why they are selling in a negative gamma environment and buying on the way down and buying on the way up. But it actually is so, in the weeds, numbers, math, that I actually end up confusing myself when I start talking about it. So knowing when you're in a positive gamma environment and a negative gamma environment will help you figure out what kind of day you're going to have and whether those movements are going to be outsized or not. So that's sort of the short version of gamma exposure. If you want to watch a slightly longer one that gets into a little bit more detail, there's one. It's the last video I have up on YouTube. And most gamma exposure data is a paid service. So you can find one that you want to use, or you can just use the chart that I put up here for you guys for free. That's completely up to you. I think people in this room have found this free chart valuable. Dennis, yeah, I suppose I could put a text box in saying when I updated it. But this is just something I'm doing for free to help you guys out. So I usually put in chat that I've done that. But keeping track of how often I've done it seems like a lot of extra work. But I'll see if I can coordinate that into what I'm doing, because I'm also obviously trying to trade at the same time. So you can find that at that link there, and there's a whole playlist. Well, there's one video in it, but there'll be more. On using gamma exposure to find your levels. What are the most recent legs? Is that a question for me? Yeah, the beauty of the SPX butterfly is that it can cash settle. You don't have to worry about taking it off. You don't have to worry about any kind of assignment. Max win, max loss, whatever, it can just expire at the end of the day, and it will cash settle into your account. The other reason I love the SPX is that it has some tax advantages to it. You get to count your profits in the XPX as 60% of it as a long-term gain investment, which is a lower tax rate, than and 40% of it as a short-term gain at a different tax rate. So it has some tax advantages, and it cash settles. So you never have to worry about assignment. So there's it's just one of my favorite products. I just did. It's in the chat, maybe 10 chats up. There it is again. So this is interesting. We're kind of playing in between these two major levels. In hindsight, maybe Iron Condor would have been a better play. But the absolute gamma level, it keeps flipping, right? So the chart I just showed you a second ago, literally 10 minutes ago, had the 6750s as the highest level. Now look at that shift in 10 minutes. So this is what happens at the end of the day, right? The market is trying to sort itself out based on price action, and these GEX levels shift quite a bit. This is the largest one here at 6,800. So I think we're still looking good on that 6,800. And so what? I used $100 to see if the 6750 was maybe going to be a strike for the day. So keep in mind, these butterfly trades for an end of day pin are very much a lotto. So because as you can see, the gamma exposure shifts so dramatically during the course of the day. Sometimes, not always, sometimes it's really, really smooth and it's really, really easy to spot. But on a day like today with these huge rangy moves, it's going to kind of be all over the place. And so you want to make sure that you're not, whatever you're putting into those, my recommendation is always be prepared to, you know, risk the entire value. Oh, am I too soft for you? That's usually not a complaint I get because I am a loud talker. Am I quiet for other people? I don't eat the mic like Nate does, but it's fairly close to my face. Okay, perfect. Yeah, some people have some issues. I would just say turn up the volume on your computer. Like when Nate comes on a little softer. I mean, he does come on a tad softer than like D man. I usually just mute D man because I was gonna make fun of him. Yeah, headphones work great. He doesn't even have a voice for radio. He should be unseen and unheard. Although he has good, very, very, very good trading information. He's one talented dude. You've turned me way down. Yeah, I recommend just turning me straight off. Yeah, most brokers will give you an account that can trade options. Dennis, they're not really. That's a great question. How Gex and volume profile are correlated. They're not really. I mean, they will to a certain extent because you'll get certain areas that are acting as support and resistance, and sometimes that will be in a at a value area high or value area low. But what these are call like the 6800 call strike in the option market is the biggest for the zero DTE today, right? So on today's zero DTEs, that sounds redundant. Today's zero DTEs. Anyway, today's options that expire today, the 6800 is the largest. Is the largest amount of volume in those for today, and what that will do is act as a magnet right now, but it will also act as support and resistance because as market makers will hedge positions towards a level, right? Once it gets to that level, if everybody is holding a 6800, right, in let's say a lotto, right, from down here, they bought the 6800s from down there, they are most likely going to start selling them when they get at the money, right? That's at the money because they're going to be in profit. Also, dealers, when right, so at the money, this is going to be roughly a 50 delta, right? And so if you know anything about delta, delta's sort of linear as you go up, 60 delta, 70 delta, vice versa. But gamma works, the highest gamma volatility happens right at the money, right? That's a terrible bell curve, but you see what I'm getting at. And then it ramps off when you go way into the money, and it ramps off when you go way out of the money. And so the highest level of hedging happens right at that strike. So if market makers have been hedging towards that strike, and they reach that strike, the volatility there plus people selling, is going to create a bounce. Or if you come in the other way, it's going to act as support because that's where the most activity is going to happen, and it ramps up. So like a volume profile, these levels on the chart can be useful to see turns where you wouldn't normally, like if I put volume profile on this chart, this is the SPX, so it's not going to give us great volume profile, but it will show us levels where there's going to be a lot of activity. That would work better on the SPY, but I don't have these lines up on the SPY. So they don't correlate, but it is like volume profile for the options market, right? That's what I meant. That's what I mean by that. And on products like the SPX, those are going to be primarily options, right? And so ever since COVID, so many more people are trading options. Options have become very popular, and zero DTEs have become very popular. So knowing where these levels are from an options perspective and a market maker's hedging perspective, just make a great, just give you a better picture of the market. Is NEM looking pretty good? Yeah, just consolidating right there. I like it. Lulu broke down. I stopped out of that. That was fine. I mean, I made a boatload on this pop in Lulu today. So this was just another, I think it took 3 contracts. So I think I lost $150 or something like that after this massive 600% winner. Airbnb looks fine. Yeah, and NEM looks fine. Those are the things I have on right now. I took my lemonade off. Yeah, XSP is good as well. It's not as easy to get in and out of easily. It's a little spready. If I want to go easier on a sniper trade, I'll just trade the SPY because I know I'm in and out of those real fast. But on the SPX, I do a lot of 0 DTE credit spreads and 0 DTE butterflies, either a standard butterfly or an iron butterfly. So now we're just kind of waiting to see where this thing wants to go. This is kind of the interesting way to play these. The 67.90 looks like it's kind of getting a little bit of love here in terms of growth. 6,800 still looks like the big dog at the moment. I mean, it certainly could. It depends on what the market's going to do. If you were here early in the week, for everyone in the open house, that would be yesterday. On the SPY here, we drew this box, and this is an OPEX week. It's an options expiration week, and and we usually get. I'll do this. This was Friday. This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Today's Thursday with no close yet, but then we'll have Friday, right? And what we tend to get in these. Friday we put in what we call a pit bull low, right? You just kind of get an outsized move. Sometimes it's a pit bull high, but it's the term for it is a pit bull low. That's like the Thursday or Friday before OPEX week. This being OPEX week, and then I like to usually measure the gap either between Thursday, Friday, or Monday, Tuesday, or Friday, Monday, and it just put a box in there. And what happens is we tend to, move out of the box, maybe come back in, we swing way out, but then we end up kind of coming back in and finishing somewhere near, not necessarily in the box, but somewhere near it, so that on an OPEX week, we really end up going basically nowhere. But we've had these swings way outside that that just suck out premium, right? And mess with people. But we end up kind of coming right back to where we started. Now, it doesn't always happen. Right? There's a couple examples where both Nate and I were playing for we had a large swing away from that sort of start area, and Nate and I kept playing moves back. I think it was a move up, and we were trying to play puts for moves back, and the week just kept going, right? So it doesn't always happen, but if you chart enough OPEX weeks, you always kind of see them make their way back to the roughly the starting area. Yeah, we really did, Nate. Both of us. I was like, I'm buying puts. You're like, I'm with you. I'm buying puts. And we're like, oh crap, we stopped out of our puts. So, but you're playing your percentages, right? You're playing generally on average things stay range bound during an OPEX week, and that's probably 8 out of 10 times that happens. I don't know if that's exactly right, but there was one time when I went back and I charted I don't know, like a year's worth of OPEX weeks, and it seemed like 8 out of 10 of them would always kind of stay range bound over time. Yeah, you were my confirmation bias. Nate agrees. So I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow. It would not surprise me very much if we kind of came back up into this area tomorrow. Maybe another little gap up in the morning, and then some sort of move into this area. This watch list for me is Thinkorswim. I use Thinkorswim for my trade execution only. Well, that's not true. Trade execution only, and I have a scan here for 30-minute squeezes that I like. I use Sam a lot. This was pre-Sam. This predates Sam by years, and so it's just a scan that I pulled out and pinned in the corner. So, but I use TradingView for all my charting, and I just place trades in TOS. That's it. Because I think the charting in TOS is horrendous. And whenever I try and go back to show something or teach something, I feel like a newborn fawn. Fawn? Foal? I don't know. Some sort of animal that's uncoordinated. I use Sam a lot for scans, but this is a TPS scan that has a bunch of criteria. You probably heard Nate today look at, damn it, Nate, what were you looking at? TMUS? What did you take a trade on that said this is an HE special? Yeah. TMUS. Oh, Twilio. TMUS is not bad either. Look at that on a 5-minute. Huh. Okay. Fun little accident. TWLO. Yeah, that's an HE special. A little gap close there. And so, what this thing looks for specifically, I love a 30-minute squeeze. I love something that's pushing all-time highs in a little 30-minute squeeze. For more, you can get that same scan on Sam if you just search by 30-minute. But this is just a quick reference guide for me. I haven't noticed that, Rick. but I don't really stare at delta. PT, I can share that scanner with you next week when it's not an open house. And then anybody that's in here that is part of that has joined us will get it as well. Well, John, you will get the scan. You will get the scan, but to get the watch list to show up with these boxes, you're right. You do have to build it. Yeah, you do have to build it. There's no way to just share it. But the scan portion that looks for the names, that I'm happy to share next week. Just remind me. Yeah, this is a beautiful chart. Nate, did you get in this? Are you? We can look at your trades tabs. I think you did, right? Yeah. Overnight lotto. You think that's going to be another 600% winner? Do I need to get this? You tried to get me to get into Cava, right? Or was that CVNA? And I didn't bite. But I think I might need to bite on this one. How are the options? How are we doing over here? Oh, yeah. Look at this 6,800 pen. Looking good. Come on, baby. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I love these end-of-day pens. Ooh, the 790 is growing, though. And so as we come up into that, right, we have 25 minutes left. Mine is currently, it's got about $250 in profit on it. I am going to create a, do I want to do that? I was going to say I want to create a closing order to buy it back. What do I want to buy it back for? I'm going to leave it for a minute. I've got a little bit of time. Sometimes I like to put in just a little order to see if it wants to take me out. You know, for like $5. Since this is a butterfly, I bought it to put it on. Right, so I need a credit to take it off, which is different than an iron butterfly. And I'm just going to leave it. Tesla? You want to wager on what I'm going to say? Well, now I'm going to skew that a little bit. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, Tesla's, I mean, that daily looks fantastic. But this chart, the way this looks doesn't set up well for my eye. I mean, I can definitely see having an inside day here, a move up, a play off of VWAP. I like things that look like that. They make me happy. Well, I guess that's the consequences that I'm gonna have to live with, buddy. I think this is going to be a banger of a trade. I just sometimes I struggle with these. I could see a lotto for tomorrow, risking VWAP here intraday. I do like that. That over 500 is Tesla's destiny. All right, Nate. All right. You win. I'm not going to take Twilio. But I am going to get some 500s. Lotto style. How about that? Oh, now you tell me you prefer CVNA over 500? After I put the trade on. This doesn't seem fair. Take both. No, I'm not taking both. It's one of those. I've had a good day. Okay, here's what if this looks like it's gonna pin near 6,800. I will take CVNA. How about that, Nate? Because then I'll have a couple of nice chunky hits today. Lulu, I mean, even Lemonade took off 111%. Got a cumulative percentage win on snipers at 160. So yeah, I got the house's money to play with. Ooh, it's going. Oh, it's going. Just use the house's money, right? Roll them. Uh, you're at 100% on your CVNA. Nice job. You know, you. When I was on the mic earlier, it was here, and I was like, no, I want it down here, right at point of control. And then, of course, when it came into point of control, I don't know what I was doing. Certainly wasn't being a disciplined trader. That would have been a great trade. Well done, sir. All right, SPX, let's get up there to 6,800. Let's do me a solid. It is funny to watch the P&L on a butterfly as it starts to work its way towards that the end of the day and towards that strike. It's just all over the place. 320. It's 140. It's it's just it's bouncing all over the place. How do I watch the P&L? I just look at my account and watch the SPX P&L jump around. If maybe that's not, maybe you weren't asking me that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to doing that. I'm not opposed to doing that now that we have um, some clearer data instead of just guessing. Honestly, like using these levels, um, intelligently and less of a guess and more of Like, listen, data shows that this is a very real possibility. Um, I could see taking much larger size. And when it hits, you just go to Disneyland. Thought we were going to have a trend up day, but we just kind of had a real volatile round. You know, we are currently, well, not where price opened, but where the 1 minute candle shot up to. What about the SPY? Yeah, we're currently basically where we opened. That's OPEX week for you. We're going to bring you up here, right? There are days where I'll take, like today, not like today, but today I took the, put credit spread for the opening range breakout right here, right? Got my 50% into this and flipped it out. There are days, because it's an OPEX week, right? There are days where you get that and you start to see some Vold pushing up above 2.5, and you're like, all right. And advanced decline up around 1500. You're like, okay, I'm just going to leave this on because I think we're just going to have just sort of this walk up day, and I'm going to let that expire for full credit. But during OPEX week, I am very hesitant to do that because you get this nice move up, you get all these people euphoric and excited, and then you go, nah, we're not going to do that, and then you get all these shorts euphoric and excited, and then like, nah, let's come back up here, and then I mean it's just, if you didn't play the today in the right directions, I bet some people got ripped up. OPEX week is options expiration week. So the third Friday of every month is the monthly options expiration, right? So there are options that only have monthly expirations. We typically don't play those very much. Then there are options that have weekly expirations. So those options expire also on the weekly expiration for the monthly. And then obviously, zero DTE options also expire. So it's the most options that are expiring at the same time, third Friday of each month. So the week prior to that Monday through Friday is OPEX, options expiration week. Ooh, it's also triple witching. Okay. Come on, 6,800. Baby needs some new shoes. And by baby, I mean me. Nice. We are looking good. Now, what I'd like to see us do is get up above it and then fade back into it. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Let's watch the gamma exposure, see what's happening. All right, 6,800 still the biggest. 6790 growing a touch. So if you've had what you consider to be a ridiculous day, in the market, a good day. Put a 5 in chat. How many of you have made some good money today? Yes, Steven. Yeah, today's been a banger of a day. That's great. So tomorrow, and then if you are euphoric because of this banger of a day that you've had, put a 1 in chat. Yeah, the 6,800 pin would make it epic, wouldn't it? Oh, we got it. We got ourselves a poll. Oh, I gotta put my vote in. There we go. When you come in tomorrow, proceed. This is my recommendation. Is proceed cautiously, in the sense of let's make sure that that first trade is really disciplined and maybe slightly undersized in terms of your size, because the tendency will be you're going to spend the evening going, if you were in my session earlier, you know what I'm talking about. I'm God's gift to trading here. No one can mess with my stuff. I'm gonna go big tomorrow, and then all of a sudden you come in and you make some sort of outsized trades that are maybe not the smartest, and then you start the day feeling like, oh God, what did I do? I can't tell you how many times I've done that. So it's always important to me. Also, I don't like to carry, if I've had a big day, I don't like to carry a ton unless the market conditions are favorable for that. Overnight, I have a few trades on for overnight, but not a lot of size, just because, I don't want to let my ego get in the way of, a big day. So look at that. 54% have had of us that voted have had a big day in the market. I think that's great. Congratulations to all of you. But what you should do is take those profits and put them into a DPL membership, because the present 300 expires today, right? And tomorrow, I think it goes down to only $100 off, which is a significant shift. You did 10 contracts in Lulu and got 620, Mike? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That was a great trade. I think I was able to get out with 610. I didn't get 620. Well done. That's a big hit. How did you like that P&L? Why are your options today all negative? Dave, I don't know. Are you buying the same ones that we were buying? Did you get into the Lulu trade yesterday when we set it up on the mic? Did you get into the Kava trade? Okay. Kava was profitable. Lemonade was profitable. Tesla was profitable. What else? CVNA is profitable. As long as you're buying the same strikes. All right, come on, SPX. Looks like SPX wants to close exactly where I'm not going to capture any profit from either one of those two. What trades am I in overnight right now? I have Airbnb on. Nate talked me into some Tesla, which I'm not happy about. I do wish I was in CVNA. So I have Airbnb. I'm out of Lemonade. I'm out of Lulu. Oh, and NEM. Those are the two that I'm carrying overnight on this 30-minute chart. Look at that. What a beauty. Just sitting here hovering right at point of control. Yeah, lame close. What do we got? 5 minutes? You know what we need though, Nate? I've seen it happen. I need this candle right up into that 7,800. That's what I need. No one was listening at 145, D-Man. Right in the middle of this range, huh? And looky where we are. I mean, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, don't they? Still got 4 minutes. All right. So, yeah, all that shift has gone to 67.80. Yep. Reach out to mods if you are interested in taking advantage of the $300 off. And we're going to let this thing close here. We need that big candle, but 3 minutes is just not going to cut it. That's a long way to go in 3 minutes. The NEM trade is next week, 12/26. I just wanted to give it a little bit more. Here's the trade. $100 calls for 12/26. I got them at 213. They're down a little right now. If price comes down into this lower level, I'm going to add. If it moves up, I'm going to take off half and full. Got my trade plan on the chart. Airbnb was a similar expiration on this 30-minute chart, this little breakdown and reclaim. I didn't put any targets in there, but we're targeting basically 138 up there and a break of the high. So that's my Airbnb trade. All right, well, come on all the way down here, Spy. Come find me. All right, well, that's going to be a wrap for me. 2 minutes. 6,800 is a no-go. But hey, risk a hundy. It's not bad. No, it won't. The fly on the SPX will settle right at 4. It doesn't continue to trade. Okay, that's going to be a wrap for me. I think there's a session on after me, but I think it's a VIP session. Am I correct in that assumption? So a little Q&A. I like that. That's a wrap on a pretty nice day. I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and I think we're probably shutting off the stream here now. So take advantage of that thing before midnight. See y'all tomorrow.